tough AFC East, do they have to make the playoffs? Is that what's at stake here? They have to be above 500, right? 9 out of 17 games, they got to go 9-8 at least. Is that even a win, or is that a push? Do they have to be better than that? Do they have to win the AFC East? Do they have to be a wild card? What is it in New England? What are the expectations now for, if you believe in Mac, a suddenly loaded Patriots team?
They got to make the playoffs. Like that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. I was just going to say, because we had a little bit of a pause there, Marcus. I was just going to say, I think the question almost is, well, what were your expectations with Cam? And now what are they with Mac? Are they higher? Are they the same? Where are you on that?
I think that if you're going to go,
go ahead. Yeah, Marcus, go ahead. Marcus, that was for you.
My expectation is for them to at minimum make the playoffs and vie to win the AFC East. Like, listen, we know the Buffalo Bills are the best team in the AFC East in their division. And Josh Allen has a lot to do with that. But New England took them to the mat last year because New England, here's the thing that people have to understand. The New England Patriots are not going to give games away. Like, that has been their strength for so long. Yes, they've had Tom Brady. Yes, they've done a tremendous job of having balance and running the football. But the mindset and the mentality of this franchise is to keep people out of the end zone. That is how they're built. They want to win in a traditional way in football. And listen, I know it's not popular because we do have these dual threat quarterbacks who are playing tremendous and doing all of these wow factor things. But Bill Belichick last year, all right, I'm going away. Last year, Bill Belichick with Brian Hoyer as a starter had the Kansas City Chiefs on close in the fourth quarter. I think it was 10-0 or something like that in that game. So this team is all about a quarterback that's going to take care of the football, a very boring and strategic way that usually ends up grinding teams out because you're going to make the mistake before they do. That is the philosophy that Bill Belichick wants to play with. So it's not only about if Cam Newton was going to be better at quarterback or Mac Jones was going to be better at quarterback. And this is what I'm screaming about the Chicago Bears. Bill Belichick always has a view of what's best for everyone on this football team. Not just my quarterback. Not just the guys that's involved in this decision. What's best for Dante Hightower? What's best for Stephon Gilmore? Matter of fact, just went on PUP list, so he's out the first 6 weeks. So what do we do in order to give ourselves a chance to win football games late in games? Last year, they did that exact thing. Cam obviously had the misfortune and fumble against the Buffalo Bills. The Patriots are going to be good. Now they have a quarterback that they're hoping can deliver in clutch moments and also value the football at a high level. Cam Newton threw 8 touchdowns and 10 picks last year. That is not how he wants to go into a season.
When I look at the AFC, the Chiefs, Ravens, Browns, Steelers, Colts, Titans, Bills, Dolphins, Chargers. I think people should watch for the Chargers this year. There are 10 teams there, including the Patriots. 3 of them ain't going to make the playoffs. So that's going to be touch and go for the Pats. And they're in a suddenly tough AFC East. I want to say something about Mac Jones, because you touched on it a little bit earlier in your comments, Marcus. He went last among the top flight quarterbacks, and I thought he should have gone last among the top flight quarterbacks, the first rounders, because he's not a dual threat, because he doesn't have mobility. And it reminds me of the NBA until pretty recently, where throughout a lot of my life, the bigs would go before a lot of the other guys who turned out better than them. Why? Because height was easy to project in the NBA. You knew height was an advantage. At the quarterback position now, being mobile, being a dual threat quarterback is an advantage that's easy to project. You know that will play. You have to have the other stuff, but at least you know you have that. And Mac Jones, if you look at him in college, was on par in terms of his level of success with Joe Burrow, went first overall last year, with Trevor Lawrence, went first overall this year. He was setting records for completion percentage, and he was leading the NCAA in yards per attempt and all those things, right? So it wasn't his success in college. He was a national champion. He showed out even at the Iron Bowl when they lost, right? A couple of years ago. He played big in big games. It wasn't that Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence had more success in college. It's that we projected, and by we, I mean the media and the pundits, projected those guys to be better in the pros because they had some things Mac Jones didn't. But what Mac Jones might have is the thing, Tom Brady comparisons will be inevitable because he's taking over the reins, really, is the thing that Tom Brady has better than everyone, right? He makes quicker decisions. He makes better decisions faster than anyone else. That's the thing.
See, man. See,
it's
bro,
not true.
Like,
Tom Brady doesn't make the best decisions the fastest?
Man, I thought that was Peyton Manning, but
yeah, but Peyton Manning didn't have the arm strength to play.
Marcus, what are you mad about?
So that's two.
What are you mad about right now?
Bro, Joe Burrow had the greatest season of a quarterback in the history of college football.
Sure.
And Mac Jones, by no means am I discounting what he did at Bama. It was phenomenal. But let's not get crazy, Max. Like, Joe Burrow made great decisions, fast decisions from the pocket. This dude went from undrafted and beat 7 top 10 teams on his way to a championship.
I'm not doubting Joe Burrow.
So don't have this.
You know what Mac Jones did last year?
Mac Jones won the starting job that you start going crazy now.
Do you? Whoa. Pump those brakes. Do you know what Mac Jones did last year? Not only is he a national champion, 4,500 yards, 41 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. You can't.
Now go look up Joe Burrow stuff.
Look, if you want to ask the Joe Burrow season, if you want to ask the Joe Burrow have the greatest college season ever, the answer might be yes, right?
It is yes. It's not might be, Max.
Trevor Lawrence also went first this year. Did Trevor Lawrence have a better season in college than Joe Burrow? So then Mac Jones, the point is not how I'm ordering their best seasons. The point is Mac Jones just had a season in that class. You can't do much better than he just did.
Sure.
I'm gonna say this, y'all. One of the things that we forgot about is that this thing about Mac Jones and how he can play the game and what people thought of him. The proof was in the pudding a long time ago. When they asked Jalen Waddle, who would you take, Mac Jones or Tua? When they asked Devontae Smith, who would you take, Mac Jones or Tua? And surprisingly to a lot of people, both of those guys who were stars at Alabama chose Mac Jones. So the proof was in the pudding a long time ago. It's just the writing on the wall wasn't clear for all of us. But I want to go back to the expectations for Mac Jones. For me, the expectations, I'll say, number one, don't lose football games, right? Don't turn the football over. That Marcus touched on that.
That's a little too vague for me, Harry.
Listen, you can't lose football.
No, but I need a little more in terms of expectations. I need a little more are they making the playoffs?
That's number one.
Okay,
let me finish. That's number one. Number two, I have make the playoffs. You make the playoffs and you give this organization a bright side and you give this fan base something to cheer for and let this fan base know that it is life after Tom Brady. Those are the expectations I have for Mac Jones in his first year. Make the playoffs.
You know how you make the playoffs? You got to beat all the teams you're supposed to beat. You got to beat all the teams you're supposed to beat and a couple of them that look like 50-50 games.
Well, who are? I want to pull up the schedule.
I'm looking at the schedule right now.
Yeah.
Dolphins, that's like a 50-50 game. Be a good idea to win that one, right? Jets, you got to beat. I got to say the Saints you got to beat at this point.
Not according to Marcus Spears.
Bucks you're probably going to lose to, but like there's Texans. You look at those first 5 games, you must win at least 3 of those games.
Okay.
I think they go 3-2.
What about the Cowboys?
4-1 would also it's going to be tight in the AFC.
And you know why?
What about Dallas? Hold on, I don't want to skip on Dallas. You think they should beat them?
I don't think Dallas is great shakes. I like the Patriots more than Dallas if Mac Jones is the guy. I like the Patriots to beat the Jets. Chargers, I think, will be improved. Panthers, I don't believe it.
Looking at this schedule, their first 9 games are favorable.
Yeah.
What am I doing,
They should be
Marcus?
plus 500 after the first 9 games.
Talk to me, Spears. What am I doing?
I know what you're doing. You ain't gonna. You're not gonna get me today with the Cowboys, okay? Listen.
I was waiting for an answer from somebody.
Reel you in.
I'm hearing things. Hold up.
I got a big one.
This is first take. I'm like, what are the expectations? They need to win games. I expect more from you, Marcus Spears. All right, where are you on how many games they should win? Yeah.
Look, the first 2 are the most important, right? Divisional games, and you want to see Mac and how he performs. And remember this, y'all. The Miami Dolphins, Davian Howard is a little different than the guys that Mac Jones been throwing against. Byron Jones is a little different. And the reason why Bill Belichick is making this decision is because he feels like Mac Jones is not going to put them in harm's way when he's playing against guys like that. I just talked about how the New England Patriots want to play football. This is another. Let me give y'all an example. Similar situation. This is a very similar situation to what Baker Mayfield has going on in Cleveland. All right? All of the things that they did in this offseason, the things that we've listed out about the offensive line, the weapons around Mac Jones, not as good as the ones Baker have. Don't get it misconstrued. I'm not saying that. Baker has the best offensive line in football. He has weapons. OBJ is coming back, all of those things. But this goes back to something Harry said, and I want to touch on it. At Alabama, those guys said they would prefer Mac Jones. That speaks to Mac Jones's ability and the way he played at the University of Alabama. And the hard part about drafting a quarterback, the hard part about a projection is where in the hell they are going. And this is why I was standing on the table, beating it down to say it is a mistake to take Mac Jones in San Francisco. Mac Jones does not need to be in the back doing jet sweep motion, handing the ball off, having an RPOs type situation going on when he's playing. He needed to end up in New England. If we got the tape, roll it back from months ago, months before the draft, leading up to it. This is perfect for Mac Jones. This fit is perfect for Mac Jones. Don't you think for 1 second that Mac Jones doesn't look better than some people thought he would look because he's in New England. It has everything to do with that.
I'm looking at the first overall picks: Baker, Kyler, Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence. Mac Jones college heights fit in right with those guys.
Max. Baker Mayfield won a Heisman Trophy, and we didn't know if he was a starting quarterback 2 years ago in the NFL.
But he went
Marcus
first overall.
Mariota won a Heisman Trophy. Dude, what I'm saying is this. Where Mac Jones ended up at 15 is a lot. It has a lot to do with the reason why he's not only starting, but why this team should vie for a chance to win the AFC East. Molly, if I'm at my house, okay, and you across the street, right? Yep. And I have a problem at my house, and you have a room at your house exactly set up like my room. Ain't I gonna feel at home?
Absolutely. I might even give you the master bedroom.
That's what Mac Jones walked into. That's what he walked into.
Yeah.
And listen, this is by no means to say Mac Jones is not good enough to play other places or cast any aspersions on Mac Jones as far as his talent and the things that he's done. But when you end up in this situation with the New England Patriots with so much recall to what you were doing in college, you have a head start on everybody, especially when you're coming in as a quarterback.
And it's about where you go and where you fit. And that's for any player in the NFL, right, Marcus? That's why you see some guys in free agency, they may leave one team and go somewhere else and ball. It's because where they left wasn't the place for them, but where they went is the place for them.
The trajectory of your career. Absolutely. What situation you get drafted into?
Let me give you a perfect example of that, okay? Listen, I played ball in Dallas with a guy named Jason Hatcher. I knew Hatch was talented. I knew he was off the charts talented. He was in the wrong defense. He was in a 3-4 defense, which was not conducive to his talent. All right. This is why it matters where people end up. When I left and went to Baltimore to play in the 3-4, and Hatch was there with Rod Marinelli, who ran a 4-3, where guys can put their hand in the dirt, go upfield, havoc in the backfield. That is what Jason Hatcher was tailor-made to do. You know what ended up happening? He ended up being a rotational guy in a 3-4. He was better than me at playing a 4-3 because of his athleticism and how he could play the game. He went to the Pro Bowl in one season of going to the right situation, and then got a deal with the Washington football team with $10 million guaranteed because he was in the right situation. He was in a system that was conducive to him having success. This is what Mac Jones walked into. So it's not only about Mac Jones outperforming Cam Newton. He had a leg up because he was in the right place at the right time. That matters.
Oh, for sure. No, he's in a great situation. Obviously, there's going to be rookie mistakes, but when Mike Reese, who covers the Patriots for us, said earlier that one thing that everyone's paid attention to is that he makes a mistake